Squad. What up,
Squad.
squad?
Hello, squad.
Oh,
Can you
Dave,
hear
we got
me?
you? Oh, yeah, we got you. Good, cool. Guys are slow on the unmute button. All right, well, you guys, I mean, some big news. Obviously, crunch time here coming down. I think Litkey, big token launch. Something you guys have been working towards for a very long time. I'm assuming the anxiety and the excitement is bubbling up. And I know, Jesse, we only have you for a couple minutes today. So maybe we're going to start a little bit higher level. And then, David, I want to get into the details with you a little bit here so people can sort of understand what you're going after. But, Jesse, you've been main character energy here, man. I hope you are doing okay, my friend. I stepped a little bit into that a couple days ago, and I was like, fuck, this is enough for me. Thank you very much. I don't know how you're doing it. But I do want to go back to maybe the second to last time that you were all in the news, which is this sort of idea that maybe teams shouldn't be giving up 10% of their tokens to centralized exchanges just to get access. And it's one thing to say that, it's another thing to actually have a solution to it. So can you maybe contextualize both that issue and the solution that you guys are bringing on base?
Yeah, my high-level philosophy is that tokens should be permissionlessly available across every exchange interface. And that's not something that we've historically had because we've had this centralized listing process that has been really influenced by basically like the custodial needs of those businesses and the speed with which they could list. But we've been working at Coinbase and Base to make that the reality. And Coinbase just rolled out a really essential piece of that, which is DEX trading, which allows any Coinbase customer to trade any asset on Base fully permissionlessly. And so with that feature from Coinbase, what we've been really focused on is figuring out how do we support asset issuers like Lit and like so many others to get their tokens out into the market in a safe, trusted, compliant, and valuable way. And what we've seen emerge is this basically permissionless listing process that is putting together Aerodrome plus Base plus Coinbase plus other exchanges that are integrating into this global capital market that's starting to form on Base to make it so you can list. It can happen in this decentralized way. The Aerodrome's community launch structure is a total innovation with this right now that, of course, they're still iterating on, but showing really early signs. And then the asset can be available everywhere. And you're not paying the 8%. You are just listing your asset in a global capital market that everyone can plug into and make it available on day one. So we're super, super excited about it. And I've known David and Lit for a long time. They've been building at the edge of MPC and cryptography basically from the beginning. And it's so cool to see networks like Lit realizing, hey, if we go and do this permissionless process on Base, we're actually going to get even more access than a centralized exchange. And folks like Kita and others have pioneered this earlier on, but now I think we're really starting to see a pipeline.
Jesse, I'm curious how you guys think about, I guess, like helping people get conviction in the assets or like discovering assets. Obviously, it's great that every asset's available, but there's also benefits on the curation side where people just have less to decide between and I guess have confidence that the things they see are quality. So I'm curious how you guys are thinking about that.
Yeah, my general feeling on this is we need to be optimizing for a world of abundance where everything is available. And then we need to be giving consumers and customers and institutions more and more information so that they can make good decisions. So in a world of abundance, we need to be giving information. And really the thing that I'm most focused on right now is I feel like there's been this history of TGEs kind of being a drag and like feeling like bad vibes. Like how many TGEs have we had where the TGE happens and then everyone is feeling bad vibes? And if you compare that to like traditional capital markets, that's not really the way that this kind of moment feels. Like talking about ringing the bell, talking about taking photos, talking about being this celebratory moment. And so I think there's a lot of things we need in order for that to happen. We obviously need more transparency, we need more disclosures, we need better systems, but that's the goal for Base. Our goal is to make it so that when founders put in a ton of hard work and they build a protocol, and they build an app, and they do their token process in the right way, and they bring it to market, it is a hell yeah moment for them, for the ecosystem, for all the people who are participating in that kind of capital market moment. And we're not there yet. But I think this is the iterative process that we're getting to for making these permissionless capital markets work with the same level of scale that the traditional capital markets have worked on. And it's never going to be perfect, but I think we've made a ton of progress in the last year.
Josh, we need a gong, man. We need a gong so we can come here and get David.
I mean, we're here. We're ready to be the opening bell.
Who's got the gong?
Yeah,
we need
a gong.
the opening gong. Like, we need David ringing the gong, and then we need all of us saying, "Holy crap! Look at the hard work that David and team have put in over the last 4 years. Look at the protocol that they've built. Look at the transparency that they've brought. Let's celebrate that." And let's hold up those examples as what we want more founders to be doing in terms of transparency and getting to product market fit, seeing traction, and then bringing in a token and having this moment when the time is right.
Well, David, tell me why you decided to go this path versus all the other paths that were available to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just fundamentally aligned with our ideals, and just really a great timing opportunity. Like our plan ahead of seeing Syndicate do the first community launch was to follow the traditional process, and then the day after seeing like, oh wow, this is a different method. I called up Will, who's a lit investor and one of the founders at Syndicate. I go, tell me what just happened here. Can you connect me to the Aerodrome team? And so I feel really grateful just as it relates to the timing. It was one of those things where a solution emerges to a problem you didn't necessarily know was solvable. And it was just immediately obvious that this was an exciting method. And a lot of it is made possible from Coinbase's very forward-looking view here, which is to say that like the actual world of digital ownership takes place on decentralized systems.
As you worked with talked to the Syndicate team, worked with the Aerodrome team, were there some big things they learned from that kind of first community launch that's going to allow you to do stuff differently or maybe better?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's definitely iterative learnings. A few of the things that we're going to be doing is Syndicate 24 hours after the community launch started launching with centralized exchanges. We've delayed that explicitly with all of the exchanges that we're working with to be 1 week to allow this time to flush out. Some of the other things that we'll be able to do is, the dynamics of a VE or token launch. There's a lot of complex market dynamics in terms of the various stakeholders and 10,000 plus parties and all of their incentives to set that price. But then 24 to 36 hours will also establish a protocol-owned liquidity pool. I think that's like a really nice way to get the value out of the initial launch and use Aerodrome as this price-setting launch pad, and then move into a market where people can buy and sell just like a normal market based on the value that they see in the asset.
Concentrated liquidity, baby.
I do think that there's something important about what David's getting at here with that kind of like waiting 24 to 36 hours for the protocol and liquidity, and delaying the centralized exchange listings. The price discovery process that Aerodrome's building looks different than the historical price discovery process that people have done on centralized exchanges. And I think that people, market participants, whether they're traders or consumers or market makers, they need to kind of like recalibrate the way they're operating in these moments now, because it is a different market structure. And I think that that's something that takes a little bit of time. It's also something that's going to require evolution of the systems on the Aerodrome side. But again, the only way we get to this like future global capital markets is through doing these things, learning, and iteratively getting better.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Alexander from Aerodrome said to me like, "Hey, thanks for taking the leap." And basically what I said to him was like, "Thanks for laying down the trampoline." Right? It is absolutely a new method. But and what was interesting about us and the decision-making process in leading up to this, once we're like, okay, we understand this opportunity. This is something that is really aligned with how we've been building and serving our customers and ecosystem partners over the past several years. And in having that transparency, basically, what I explicitly want to say is that there was a risk there associated with us. There were some of the people who were kind of on our bench, so to speak, who go like, "Hey, you've been doing this for 4.5, 5 years. Like, are you sure you want to gamble?" And the gamble from the perspective of a project is, if you go to the kind of the classic route of either just doing a standard DEX launch or opening up your token on a SEX, the project and the venue are functionally picking that initial price together. And so the bet here for any given project is to say, actually, we're going to take our hands off of this. We're going to present to the community at large, say, here's what we've been up to. Please take the time to understand this, understand the dynamics of the token, the network, who's using it, why they're excited about it. and then you set the price. And so, the risk is that it ends up becoming comes in like lower than what the project would have set it at. But of course, like the other side of the gamble here, using that term loosely, is that it's like, especially for a network like ours, which is kind of a first of its kind, highly productive before the token reaches the market, it basically lets the market see that and set the price rather than us kind of throwing a dart at the board.
Yeah, the excitement, the reason people are bummed out around TGEs is because they go down only, right? Like
Yeah.
we've just been down only. And so I think this idea of price discovery and is key. And I agree. I think there's I still feel very confused by price discovery on Aerodrome, and I still feel like there's a group of people who are far better suited to it. And I am curious of whether that is sort of like we just see a professional expanding of the professional class of market maker here, maybe what we're seeing on Meteora and we're seeing at Aerodrome, or if there is still a broader way for consumers to participate. And it sounds like you have a bit of a thesis on that with this sort of separate liquidity pool. So I'm probably not the guy's going to come in and try to bid this on day one, but if I know that there is some sense of price discovery and a deeper liquidity pool and some stabilization that's happening fairly quickly, I don't mind coming in on day 2 or 3. Jesse, I know that we only had you for a bit of time here. I want to make sure I'm not just dominating your time. Happy to let you go if you need to, but if not, we'll continue on.
I think the last thing I'll say is, in general, my feeling is that we want to invest really heavily in TGEs on Base. We've seen a track record of projects, whether they're built on Base or elsewhere, coming to the Base capital markets because they see it as trusted, they see it as liquid, and they want to participate and bring that kind of price discovery here. And I think we have a lot more work to do. Some of the things I'm most excited about are continuing to make these kind of price discovery mechanisms better, continuing to get more information into the hands of all classes of investors leading up to the TGE so they can really be making informed decisions about the value of these assets. And then, of course, continuing to create a culture that lifts up and celebrates founders who do it right. And that means doing it in a transparent way, sharing information about the project, being trustworthy, and I think that that's going to be something that we lift up as the Base team, and it's been awesome to see David and the Lit team kind of lean in a big way there. So this is the second one, but I think we're going to have thousands and then hundreds of thousands and then millions of these TGEs over the next few years, and we're excited to just keep making it better and more trustworthy for the entire ecosystem.
I love it, man. I mean, I think the reason we do the show is because people want to stare into your eyes, David. They want to see who you are. They want to see the authenticity that's coming from it. You put that up against the multitude of other ways that tokens can be launched. That the benefit of just being able to see the human beings behind this, I think, is a big part of that. That opening bell would not really make sense if it was some anon standing up there ringing that bell. So,
well, thanks guys for having me on. I'm excited to be able to dive deeper with David. I was just looking at the charts, and I think there's almost like $200 million or $150 million of assets on Base locked up in Lit wallets, which is this like crazy cool decentralized MPC system where smart wallets on Base can control assets across any network. And it's just been cool to see that kind of grow over the last 6 months. So I'm so excited for David and his team to have this moment, for the Lit network to continue to decentralize, for Base to serve as the capital market where this TG is happening, and for hopefully many, many more projects to come and join us and to benefit from this global economy that we're building together. So thanks, everybody.
Peace, Jesse.
All right. Yes. Okay. So let's